to be Stephanie Benedato's mom?
Yeah. Perfect. Eric Rayhack. Give me the paperwork. Yes.
Ready?
Thank you.
I'm holding your boss. Let me make sure he's good.
Awesome.
Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. I think we might have some mic challenges. Let's see, can we get this mic up a little bit louder, please? And Lawrence, how about the mic for the live streamers? Check, check. Is this better for folks? No?
Live stream mic got a thumbs up.
Oh, no. Hello, hello. Test, test, test. Apologies, apologies. Test, test, test. Is this a little better? Somewhat? How about that, Mike? And we can just How's this one? A little bit better? Apologies. You know, this just goes to show that there needs to be some upgrades in this room. So my apologies. Well, thank you all for taking time out of your Saturday afternoon to join not only the candidates here, but everybody else in the room to ultimately hear from the folks that are here before us, because one of these folks will be your District 2 City Councilor within the next 2 weeks. We're hoping the 28th. We're looking at having this person appointed on that day. So thank you all for showing up. Just brief announcement. We do have an exciting opportunity for anybody that lives in the city, which is to apply for our Charter Review Commission. How many folks know what that is? Okay, good number of hands. So in essence, our city charter is our city constitution. It outlines how the city is supposed to operate and function. And so last fall, the governing body passed a resolution that guided a new city charter review commission to be incorporated, and they look at the separation of powers between the executive and the legislative. And so, Jess, this went out. Apologies, my gosh. Where's the
We could do
check?
it without a mic.
I can do it out of mic. I don't know if everybody else can.
No pun intended.
While we get this, I'll go over the Charter Review Commission. So that commission will be looking at how the separation of powers could be implemented, and it will be a year-long process. It's not going to be a 2-week process, a 3-week process. It's going to be a full year-long process. So next April 2027 is when this Charter Commission will actually put forth recommendations on how you, the public, potentially want our city charter to be amended to further have a separation of powers. The public started that process somewhat with the removal of the voting powers for the mayor. Folks remember voting on that in November? Okay, so that was somewhat of the start of the separation of powers. There will be a full charter commission reviewing that beginning April. Again, anybody can apply. The way the process works is each governing body member will select one person. So, for example, me as the mayor, I will select one person. One of these folks up here that is selected as the District 2 candidate replacement will select one person, and the remainder of my colleagues on the council will select one person. And then those folks will begin to meet in April, again, as I mentioned, all the way through next April. The way you apply is submit your resume and cover letter to the city clerk's office. And then we will get that information to the governing body members. That is not the sole list they will work off of. Governing body members can pick anybody that they want. We just feel this was a good opportunity to field some candidates for the governing body members. So with that, we've got a lot of work ahead of us today. Where's my colleague Jerica? I'll stall for her. I know she's somewhere around here. But Jerica is going to be the moderator for today. She's going to go through a list of questions that are a mix of questions that I have incorporated as well as a mix of questions that were pre-submitted. What we will be doing is at 5 o'clock tonight, every single question that came in from the public, we are putting it up online. I've tried to create a process that is as open, transparent, and involving and engaging the public as much as possible. There's not a real roadmap for me to pick the replacement person. So what is important is that I wanted to create a process where people can ultimately participate in determining who the replacement is. So the powers guided through the city charter say I can appoint, the governing body approves, but there's no real roadmap in between. So this is part of that roadmap that I created. Jerica, I'm going to hand it off to Jerica. Jerica's going to go over some information, then we're going to get started. So the floor is yours. And so I apologize. Seems like the mic is okay. So I apologize.
Please don't go on without a mic. It's useless.
We have limited time. That's the challenge. So what we're going to do, as candidates are asking questions, we're going to ask you to come up because the mic here is connected to the virtual mic. Typically, we'd have a mic going back and forth. We can't really take this back and forth too much. So with that, Jerica, thank you all for showing up.
Hello, I project. How are we doing? All right, so I will be going over the rules and guidelines for today's event. I will also later be the moderator and reading the questions. So let's begin. This forum is intended to inform residents about candidates' positions, experience, and priorities. This event is nonpartisan and designed to provide equal opportunity for all candidates. All participating candidates must adhere to the same rules and time limits. Candidates may not bring campaign signs, literature, or props onto the stage. Notes are permitted. Time limits. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for opening statement and equal time for each candidate, 60 to 90 seconds, as specified to respond to each question, and closing statements will be 2 minutes. The timekeeper will signal when 15 seconds remain with a yellow card, and time expired with red card. Question guidelines. Questions will be asked by the moderator. Questions must address issues relevant to the office. Personal attacks, inflammatory language, or questions directed at another candidate's character are not permitted. Candidates must respond directly to the question asked and avoid excessive repetition. Conduct and decorum. Candidates must remain respectful to the moderator, other candidates, and the audience. Interruptions, crosstalk, or rebuttals outside the allotted time are not allowed. The moderator's decisions are final. Audience rules. Applause, cheering, or negative reaction during candidate responses are prohibited. Audience members may not engage candidates directly. Disruptive behavior may result in removal from the venue. Recording. The forum is being recorded and live streamed onto YouTube of the city. Enforcement. The moderator may issue warnings for rule violations. Repeated violations may result in removal from the forum. Are we starting with the candidates without the mic? Please hold. No. Is that the order?
Suggest if you don't get a mic working, that people step out here so that people can hear better. Acoustically, it'll be better to have people 6 feet closer than standing.
Oh, it's okay. Hmm? Hello. Can everyone hear me? Yay. Will candidate 1 please step forward for their opening statement? Candidate Crawford. 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Well, thank you all so much for joining on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. You can be anywhere else right now, and I'm really touched that you're spending the afternoon here with us, so really appreciate it. My name's Cam Crawford. I'm a full-time firefighter with Santa Fe County Fire Department. I just got off this morning at 7. And in addition to being a firefighter, I'm also a substitute teacher with Santa Fe Public Schools. I also have the pleasure and the privilege of serving as the vice chair of the Democratic Party of New Mexico. Really, really happy to be here. Look, my day job might be putting out flames, but I'm not here to tell you that City Hall is a dumpster fire. But what I am here to explain and tell you is that, we've got some real challenges that we're facing as a city, and challenges that I would call emergencies. When the cost of rent has gone up 80% since the year 2017, I would call that an emergency. When our unhoused neighbors can't get access to the behavioral health treatment that they need, when they fall deeper into drug use and despair and destitution, I would call that an emergency. And when kids who were born and raised in Santa Fe don't feel like they'll be able to build a future here, I would call that an emergency. I'm used to responding to emergencies, and I believe that being a city councilor is more than just about approving a roads budget or liquor permits. I believe that the job of a city councilor is to take the hopes and aspirations of our community and then do everything we can to make a real difference in people's lives. We must build the housing necessary to meet the needs of our community. No more car washes or storage units. We can hire social workers and paramedics to help those who are suffering in silence in our streets. And we can tell our youth that Santa Fe isn't just the kind of city where you come to close out your life. You can start a life here too. My name's Cam Crawford. Really excited to be here. Looking forward to the conversation. Thank you so much for being here.
Will candidate 2 please step forward? Candidate Martinez.
Good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to thank you all for being here. Thank Mayor Garcia for this opportunity to come here, speak on this one. Okay, we'll go to this one. This one There's a little feedback here. I wanted to say thank you to Mayor Garcia for having this opportunity for all of us to come here, represent. I am Aurora Martinez. I am a lifelong Santa Fean. I also am a very huge community advocate here in Santa Fe, especially for District 2. I grew up here in District 2 in Hopewell Man neighborhood. The Hopewell Man neighborhood is very near and dear to my heart. And if anyone knows or grew up in that neighborhood, I'm sorry, it's if I'm getting too loud for some people here. It's near and dear. And I was in the last campaign, I wanted to bring up something about District 2 in the 6 precincts that I won in the last campaign. It was first choice, and I want to make that very clear, first choice. They were the 6 precincts that I won were actually the most socioeconomic vulnerable precincts in District 2. They all came out to vote for me. This is what I really was hopeful for, because when I went out campaigning, when I went to each one of these houses, I really wanted to connect with everybody. I wanted to see what they had to tell me, what they needed from Santa Fe, what they needed from the city council, from our government. It is so important for me to be able to represent the people who are most vulnerable, as well as do the job that we need to actually fix this city. And I do have that background. I appreciate everyone for coming, and thank you.
Will candidate 3 please step forward for your opening statement? Candidate Vega.
Hello, everyone. Can you all still hear me? How about now? There we go. All right. My name is Brandon Vella, and I appreciate the opportunity to take part in this process. Santa Fe has given me a sense of belonging unlike anywhere else I've ever been. I fell in love here, and I plan to be married in the heart of the city later this year. My fiance and I share a home in South Capitol with our dogs, Emmett and Jenny, and we value the District 2's walkability, parks, diverse residents. I'll just project, how about that? And unique built environments. We've also endured many of the familiar challenges residents here face: petty crime, flooding, permitting purgatory, and the fear that our community may shrink as members ultimately give up on the hope of home ownership and economic prosperity in Santa Fe. I want to represent District 2 as councilor to help overcome these challenges. After earning my bachelor's in electrical engineering 13 years ago, I've built a career helping organizations solve complex technical and business engineering challenges. Since living in Santa Fe, I volunteered at the Acequia Madre House and the Women's International Studies Center and the Desert Verde Aquaponic Farm, supporting art, culture, and innovative food solutions. I've been a Water Conservation Committee member since 2024, and as a 2023 Livable Santa Fe Fellow, and later in partnership with HomeWise, I've knocked on doors, learned from housing experts, advocated for affordable housing at every opportunity. These experiences deepened my belief that Santa Fe's challenges demand creative, collaborative solutions driven by clear and measurable goals. I look forward to today's discussion and the opportunity to serve District 2 on City Council. Thank you. Yeah, I know. So we can hear this is live stream.
Ms. Benenato, so you are candidate number 4. Let's do a mic check. Can you go ahead and speak into the mic?
Sure. Can you hear me?
I can, but we're just trying to get the mic so everybody in the audience can hear you as well.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Well, I can hear you, but it's not broadcasting to everybody in the audience here. So if you could give us a few minutes.
Okay.
stand by.
Okay.
We're working on it. Thank you.
Okay, so my apologies, everybody. This technical difficulty is not, what we're gonna have to do in person here is, we'll actually demonstrate to see if these candidates have a projecting voice. But the challenge is that we have a candidate that was not able to be with us here in person, and we're accommodating their request, and she is online. I'm trying to figure out how everybody in this room can hear her response because it's on their laptop. Everybody in the virtual world is going to be able to hear her. So what I unfortunately am going to recommend is that everybody in this room is going to go back and listen to Ms. Benenato's response because it will come in crystal clear on YouTube. The unfortunate thing is the folks in this room won't be able to hear it. I don't want to have this back and forth with the technology. It's just being a disruption to the process, and I respect each of these candidates, and to not have this disruption. Again, this is the only fix I can think of at the moment, where the candidates are going to have to speak loud, where everybody in the room can hear them. Ms. Benenato's going to speak into the mic. The folks in the online will be able to hear her. Everybody that's in the room, I am going to ask for you to go back and watch the recording and hear her responses. That way you can hear her position on each of these questions.
Turn on the captioning so maybe it'll come up.
Closed captioning can help as well, but I want you to hear directly from her. So, were you able to hear Ms. Benenato, the solution? Okay, she said it's not ideal. I completely agree. I wish I had a bullhorn, but
I know, that's why
we don't have one at the moment. And so we're going to allow Ms. Benenato to give her 2 minutes, then we're going to get back in the process with everybody in the room, and so on and so forth. So I completely apologize. We did the sound check yesterday, we did the sound check this morning. It just is not working, the sound in the room. So my apologies. So Javier, if you wouldn't mind having Ms. Benenato start her 2 minutes and you kind of give her the prompts, and then once you're done, I'm going to hand it back off to Jericho. It's your floor again. Okay? My apologies, everybody, again.
Okay, Ms. Benenato, go ahead and give your 2-minute introduction.
Okay, Stephanie Benenato. I am an attorney mediator, a professional historian, and a tour guide, and a 50-year resident of Santa Fe. I'm running to be an interim city council member, not one who will be running again that people who want to run have a level playing field, and that there's no incumbency benefit by being appointed now. On environmental issues, land use issues, workplace issues, landlord-tenant, boundaries, neighbors, family, and historic preservation. I think it's important, and I appreciate all of you being here both online and in the audience to participate and listen to what the candidates have to say today. I think it's important that we expand the ability of people to be able to get information easily and to participate more fully in the processes of the city and to be able to contact both employees and officials. We have a lot of issues, and I have been following City Council for quite some time, years in fact, so that I am very well
15
acquainted
seconds.
with that. And I also, as a mediator, I think that I am a good listener and a problem solver. And my big issues are the land use code and correcting the way city farms out lawsuits, and also due process problems in the appeals ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, candidate Beninato. Will candidate 5 please step forward for your opening introduction? Candidate Breshner.
Thank you. Hello, all. Can everybody hear me? No. All right, I'll try to speak louder. My name is Burl Brechner. I'm not going to go through a lot of background about me because my resume and my application letter and those of all of us, I believe, are on the city's website and also in the newspaper, attached to the newspaper article that was online earlier this week. So my background is there, but fundamentally, I'm a journalist. I've been a journalist, a magazine editor, a writer, written for newspapers in Washington, where I lived for a number of years, lived here for a decade now. And since I came here, over the years, as city government issues have arisen, I've analyzed them with research and fact gathering, the tools I rely on. Some memorable topics include the push by a core of locals for a city-controlled public bank. That didn't seem a great idea to me, so I fought it and fought it vigorously. The city's selective search, or actually a lack of a search, for the college or university tenant that might come onto the Midtown campus, that didn't happen. And I found out about it. Or why the changing cast of city managers seem to be hired based on connections rather than skills for the job. And 3 years ago, I began to pinpoint the state's role, and it has yet to assume that role, in the Soldiers' Monument matters. We've learned we need better checks and balances and more information. I would be honored to be selected for this council opening. I would dedicate myself to the continuing improvement we have and participate in making Santa Fe a showcase. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here.
Will candidate 6 please step forward? Candidate Raddick.
Good afternoon. How are you guys doing? I moved here 29 years ago with my family, my young daughters. We wanted to be in a, we good? Oh, is it working? Okay, great. We moved here almost 30 years ago from Boston with our young daughters. We wanted to be in a bilingual environment, a multicultural environment. In Massachusetts, I had spent 15 years teaching. I spent 5 years developing a community policing and crime prevention program in the North Shore of Boston. We lived in Gloucester, where I also was a co-developer of the Human Rights Commission in that city. I have worked in job development with recent arrivals from Southeast Asia, excuse me, in Boston, and I'd worked extensively in human rights. When I came here, I got really involved in the arts community, worked with IAIA, helped to transform Indian Market and to inject youth culture. This was 25 years ago, bringing in film and hip hop and fashion. And I opened the Border store, if some folks remember that. I produced the first rock concert at the Lensic. On Saturday night of Indian Market, my host came in on the backs of Harleys, and I used to produce the Paramount, if anyone goes back to those days. My background is in education and arts and performance. But things have changed in Santa Fe. Over these 29 years, I'm sure you've all felt it. My daughters lived in a neighborhood where they walked to school, they walked to friends' houses, they walked to EJ. It is transformed. My work now is in public safety, advocacy, and journalism, and I have a lot to contribute to the city. I think I can do more inside government than what I'm doing as a private citizen. Thank you. Eric Radak. Sorry.
Hello.
Hello?
Will candidate 7 please step forward? Candidate Bustamante.
I was just working on my drill instructor voice to project to the back too. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. I know there's a couple of important football games going on, so I appreciate the time. But really, I appreciate everybody up here and you for coming out, for taking the time to still be engaged with our government. Thank you, Mayor Garcia, for the opportunity, and thank you for our community engagement team for getting this set up. As I said, maybe I did. My name is Paul Bustamante. I'm a veteran. I lived in the city for a long time. We're raising our daughter here. In fact, I'm been a stay-at-home dad with her for a while. My priorities are what they've always been. Helping those. We have an affordable housing crisis, as Mr. Cameron talked about earlier. We have an increasing unhoused population with a dire lack of services for those people. And if you read the paper, you've seen another article that says New Mexico is on the rise. Unlike other states, we're on the rise for fentanyl deaths. And we need to do something to help those people and their families that are going through these sorts of issues. But I learned a lot on the campaign trail. I came in second out of 4 candidates, not too shabby. I learned what a lot of people are concerned about are basic city services. They're concerned about our roads. I once called the pothole our city mascot, and it's still true to this day. They're concerned about our parks and recreational facilities. This is a good example. This one here, it needs updating, it needs maintenance. They're concerned about water. We want to build, we have to build to get affordable housing, but where are we going to get that water? We need a water treatment plant. There's so many issues involved with water because we live where we live. And so we need to address all these at one time, and if I'm appointed to this task, rest assured I will fight for our district and for our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Will our final candidate please step forward for their opening introduction? Candidate Bustamante. 2 more? 8? Well, candidate 8, please step forward. Candidate Metzger.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here today, especially through the Broncos game, which is starting fairly quickly here. I would also like to say thank you to our veterans, both on this panel and our committee here, and everybody in our audience here, retired veterans, and thank you for your service. So, my name is Mary Jo Metzger, and I'm honored to share a bit about myself and why I'm seeking candidacy in District 2. I'm a proud resident of Santa Fe for over 38 years, 26 of those years being in District 2. I'm a mother of 2 children, born and raised in Santa Fe, and graduates from St. Michael's High School, 2 beautiful grandchildren, and married to Joseph, who served over 30 years with the New Mexico Municipal League of the City of Santa Fe. Professionally, I am the Executive Director of Diagnostic Services at Christus St. Vincent's Regional Medical Center. I will be retiring, though, after 26 years of service in the healthcare field. I've also served on the board of Via Teresa, and I am an avid golfer, both at Santa Fe Country Club and beautiful Marty Sanchez. I'm a supporter of animal rescue organizations and the proud owner of Teddy, our rescue dog. So priorities for District 2 for myself and all my neighbors and who I'm always in communication with, support Mayor Michael Garcia and his initiatives to strengthen our city, improve safety and community well-being by increasing police officers, first responders, and using a multi-approach to reducing homelessness and criminal activity in our city. I will listen, collaborate, and work transparently for District 2, dedicate to ensuring community voices are heard. I would be happy and honored to serve District 2 as your counselor. Thank you.
Will candidate 9 please step forward? Candidate Trujillo.
Hello, everybody. My name is Leroy Trujillo. I grew up in Santa Fe. I've lived in multiple states. I've traveled overseas. My background is entrepreneurship and business management, logistics. I've been self-employed most of my life up until COVID. My first business was at 8 years old, starting a landscaping business. I didn't have parents growing up, so when something needed to be done, I got it. I went in and got it and made sure it happened. And listened to speaking with a lot of constituents and a lot of the individuals running, we all know what the city needs. Whether it be education, safety, fires, infrastructure, public facilities, but nobody talks about how we're gonna get there. We don't have the budget for any of these, these wish lists that people get. But with my background in entrepreneurship, business startups, I know how we can fund these projects to get you what you guys need, whether it be more police, fire, better roads, better bicycle roads, education, better schooling. I know how to get there by increasing our budget in the different departments, and I can't go over that right now because that's intellectual property. But choosing me, I could increase our budget without increasing your taxes. Thank you, and my name is Leroy Trujillo, and I appreciate you guys for listening and coming today and understanding where all of us come from. Thank you.
We will now go to our next question. Top priorities. This round will start with candidate 2. What do you feel are the top 3 priorities for the residents of District 2, and what actions would you like to address each of those priorities? Candidate 2, Candidate Martinez.
Yes, 1 minute, right?
1 minute.
Top priorities. These are interconnected. Housing, homelessness, and crime. They are all interconnected somehow, some way. However, in the last year or so, some of our crime has gone down. It's really important to know this, that a lot of it is not our homeless, okay? We all have a responsibility to take care of our homeless throughout the districts. And the reason why I say that is so it's not all congregated. In my neighborhood, we have quite a bit of crime. However, we all work together. When you work together, that crime seems to kind of even out. And that's what we want when we are dealing with crime. We don't want it all in one section. We have a city to run. We have a beautiful city. The other top priority is affordable housing. Our working class need housing. Santa Fe runs off of our housing. Our city is pretty much, we have a lot of working class that are living in Rio Rancho. We want to bring them back here. We want them here. We want them to stay here. And we need to be able to help them. And the way that I see that is through enterprise funding. We can do this. It would be interesting. I really do think that is one of the things. Now, the crime, public safety, I'm on the public safety committee. For me, it is more important to get a lot more police officers, ARU units. We need these police officers to be here in Santa Fe. I also think that bringing substations around Santa Fe would help some of that crime. The more presence of police officers in our towns, the easier it is for us to have that. So I'm trying to, hopefully we'll get there. I really hope that we can work together, be united as a city, not just District 2. We all need to come together. We have a great city council team, and we really need to work together to unite Santa Fe. That's how we're going to get things done. Thank you.
The time for this question is actually 2 minutes, so that was 2 minutes. We're having a great time. Will candidate 3 please step forward? What do you feel are the top 3 priorities for the residents of District 2, and what actions would you take to address each of these priorities? 2 minutes.
Thank you. I've got 3 priorities top of mind. The one that I have the most experience with and the one I'm most passionate about is housing. I prioritize this initiative and this problem to be solved because it is linked to many of the other problems that we feel every day. I think one of the first things we can do in pursuit of overcoming this challenge is setting clear goals. My peer just mentioned that we have as much as 30% of those contributing to our city commuting in from outside of the city. What should that number be? Do we want to cut it in half? Should it be 90% of our citizens contributing to the city can live here? Setting clear goals, I think, is the first step to making actual progress. Along with housing, one of the other issues or challenges that we face is talent development, attraction, and retention. When I talk about talent, I talk about the skilled jobs, the workforce that we've heard Mayor Garcia talk about. These are teachers. How many folks would like to raise their children in Santa Fe? How many folks would like to age in place in Santa Fe? You guys are going to need help, and it takes skilled labor to do that. And we need to make sure that that skilled labor has a place where they can prosper. And I think it relates back to housing, of course. And then finally, the question that always comes up when we talk about housing is, where's the water going to come from? As a member of the Water Conservation Committee, we actually do a really great job at water conservation. We are not out of water. It is precious and limited. And I think setting clear goals can help us understand how to plan for tomorrow, 10 years, 50 and 100 years in the future. Thank you.
What do you feel are the top 3 priorities for the residents of District 2, and what actions would you take to address those priorities?
I think for me, housing, basic services, and then health and safety are key issues. And although we talk a lot about affordable housing, transitional housing, I think that there needs to be some emphasis on changes in short-term rental ordinance so that there are people, homeowners are living on the property and not people commence. I think that more community policing, we used to have a very good force for that, but that is cut down. I think that's really important. I think having recreational facilities open, 7 days a week and making it accessible is also important. I have proposed changes to the recreation department that could help that so far they have not been implemented. Thank you.
Candidate Breshner, what do you feel are the top 3 priorities for the residents of District 2, and what actions would you take to address those priorities?
Thank you. Burl Brechner again. My first priority, having not been in public office and not run for public, having not been in public office and having not run for public office, my first priority would be to go out and listen very closely to the constituents of District 2. I have to know more because there's a lot of priorities talked about, but I personally would like to hear it from people. And when it comes to housing, certainly it's a priority, but it's got to be subsidized somehow. It's going to come, money's going to come from taxpayers, money's going to come from the state, money's going to come from the feds. I'm not sure where the money's going to come from, but it's got to be subsidized, and we got to be very smart about how to get the funds necessary. It could be land from the city, but we can't expect developers to build low-cost housing and quality housing at their expense. We've got to help make that happen, and how that happens has to be a focus. We need effective local government all the time, not part of the time, but all the time. There are plenty of quality departments and people working for this city, but sometimes you can just tear your hair out, as I maybe have, trying to get things done and trying to find the help that you need for material or information or paperwork. So a focus on that's necessary. And finally, I think more broadly, quality of life in the city. We've talked about potholes, we've heard about noise. We hear about a lot of stuff where quality of life needs to be addressed, and prioritizing what those are and a focus on how to deal with them is necessary. Thank you very much.
Candidate Raddick, what do you feel are the top 3 priorities for the residents of District 2, and what actions would you take to address each of those priorities?
Thank you. My name is Eric Radek. I didn't do that last time. Thank you. My priority, I guess, first is to build the business base, make this a more business-friendly environment. We need to build jobs here. It is diagnostic. I don't want to focus on the negative, but when we lost the Sundance Film Festival, the 10-year contract to Boulder, we lost an estimated $1.3 billion of revenue to the city and the state. We have infrastructure projects here that move at a glacial pace. I was at the beginning of the rail yard, Midtown campus. Projects that take 25 years, I'm impatient. We can't do that. We have to move more quickly. We have to expedite. We have to lead from out front. So, number one, we need to have more jobs and higher paying jobs in the city. Number two, public safety, which I'm on the street most of the year. 3 years ago, my life and my neighbors' lives were altered by the shooting of a neighbor. I was the first one in the door as a former EMT before the police got there. I would guess 53% of Americans have been impacted by gun crimes, gun violence, and I would like to work across the aisle in a bipartisan way with responsible gun owners to achieve a safer city. I've worked with police. I'm on the street all the time. Oddly, I'm doing more street medicine now in my outreach to the homeless community, distributing Narcan and food and health information. Last point is, I think I've covered those, but public safety and an integrated approach underlies everything else. Businesses will not move here if our murder rate has risen to the point that it has. And this has happened in Albuquerque. This is a problem of rising violent crime in the city. Thank you.
Candidate Bustamante, what do you feel are the top 3 priorities for the residents of District 2, and what actions would you take to address each of those priorities?
Thank you. So aside from the citywide problems, a couple of which I mentioned in my opening remarks, specific to District 2, and I have to ask which part, because District 2 is quite large. So I'm only going to be able to go over a couple, but the first one, I'm going to start with my neighborhood, which is the Candlelight neighborhood. If you read the paper recently, you saw an article about the horrific traffic design coming out of that new Zia Flats. This is going to affect anybody who uses that road, Zia and St. Francis, especially that little area where they have to make a U-turn. They're being forced to make a U-turn. I've already seen my own self, almost 2 accidents occur right there where people have to make a U-turn because you need both lanes to make that turn. And in the morning, it's going to cause some pretty bad traffic. So we need to talk to our BPAC committee to see if they have suggestions for making this more bicycle pedestrian friendly. Talk to our city engineers to see if we can do something to maybe redesign this area. If we're looking at Upper Canyon Road or any area along that urban wilderness intersection, they're going to have a real serious problem. Some people already have with insurance, fire insurance. A lot of people are losing their home insurance because of this. We need to get with the fire department and work together to come up with a fire mitigation plan that is acceptable to the insurance companies so that people don't lose, their home insurance. And the last thing I want to talk about is short-term rentals, especially along Don Diego, Don Gaspar. When I was out there knocking on doors, I cannot tell you how many people told me, don't go to that house right there, don't go across the street, nobody lives there, or it's just a short-term rental, and sure enough, we don't have enough enforcement right now. And we need to beef that up and start tackling that issue because it's affecting the city as a whole. Thank you very much.
Candidate Metzger, what do you feel are the top 3 priorities for the residents of District 2, and what actions would you take to address each of those priorities?
Thank you. Again, Mary Jo Metzger. And what I want to talk about priorities for District 2 and for myself, if you walk the neighborhoods, if you do the bike paths, if you ride your bikes, again, is making homelessness brief and non-recurring while restoring public safety and community confidence. You have to have a multifaceted plan. This is cyclic. From stealing in the stores, which we all have seen. We know it's rampant. You can't go in a grocery store without somebody walking out with something. You can't go into Walgreens without that happening. You can't go into our neighborhood grocery stores of Albertsons or Walgreens without being accosted by a panhandler nonstop all the time. We have got to take care and be safe. We've had lots of injuries and things that have happened to our community and our district because of not being safe in that realm. So Santa Fe is offering housing, treatment, and services to everyone. What we are no longer offering is permission to still use drugs publicly or terrorize businesses or neighborhoods. We must stop rewarding non-engagement of our city surfaces and re-offering help when there is no consequence. So, and that's from our stores, from our community, and it really is very cyclic. We see the outcome of this in our hospital every single day, 24 hours a day. If we can get a handle on that, we can't be the community that welcomes every transient person to come through. We need to take care of our community, our citizens, and make our neighborhoods thrive. And that is for our younger children. We need parks that are clean, well-maintained, and that we can take our children to and feel safe. You can't go to a park if you don't feel safe. You can't go to a park when it's become a homeless encampment. We need to take care of our families and attract younger people with their children. I have grandkids. I know it. When they come into town, I'm looking for, and there's a person in here to do this. That's what we need, I feel.
Candidate Trujillo, what do you feel are the top 3 priorities for the residents of District 2, and what actions would you take to address each of those priorities?
Hello, and the main 3 priorities are, like my slogan was for my campaign, here to listen, let you guys make the decisions and see what you guys need within the community. And the second is we need to focus on small business and entrepreneurship so we could build a budget for what we need within this city without building businesses and focusing on monopoly corporations and corporations buying up Santa Fe. We'll never be able to get what we need, whether it be regarding public safety, fire safety, infrastructure, public facilities. We'll never be able to reach that unless we focus on bringing new industry into Santa Fe to increase the budget for these different departments within our city. And also third would be public affordable housing. Right now, we have a restricted permit system where it seems like the bigger the company get the permits to build and buy up Santa Fe. BlackRock, Vanguard is buying up a lot of Santa Fe. If you talk to a lot of contractors, anybody that builds within Santa Fe, it's damn near impossible to get a building permit to provide competition for these big corporations buying up Santa Fe. We need to limit summer homes. We need to limit Airbnbs and let our contractors and small businesses and the constituents build within Santa Fe. Thank you.
Candidate Crawford, what do you feel are the top 3 priorities for the residents of District 2, and what actions would you take to address each of those priorities?
Well, I'm sure I don't have to tell you all that problems don't stop at district lines. You know, as I mentioned in the beginning, we're facing a housing affordability emergency. I don't like to use the word crisis because it makes it sound insurmountable. So you guys should be aware, you know, only 10% of Santa Feans earn the kind of income needed in order to buy a house. That's obscene to me. And so what we need to do is support good land use policies that make it easier to build the kind of housing necessary to support our workforce. And we also need to continue to support programs that we have in place already. We have down payment assistance, and we also have eviction prevention. One of the privileges I have as being vice chair of the state party is that I get to work with our state legislature, and one of the things that I want to do is work with them to pass a bill to make rent control legal. And that way we can begin to have conversations about, you know, what policies would work best for people here in Santa Fe, what kind of rent stabilization can we use, and we also need better enforcement of our short-term rental policies. On the issue of public safety, which I also believe is another priority, I don't like to say that I'm tough on crime. I like to say that I'm serious about safety. The truth is if you want to stop crime, you need to meet people where they are and get them the behavioral health services that they need. And so that means more paramedics, more social workers, more community health support workers. One of the things that I support is expanding the ARU, making sure that we continue to build the capacity that we need so that they can serve more people. I was really proud to be able to work at the micro community on Arroyo Chamizo. It was 10 houses and a parking lot, and every single person there had access to a caseworker. I think stuff like that works. And then again, we need to continue investing in our teachers and community schools to get kids the support they need, the technical education, the workforce training that they need, working with nonprofits to support our kids. Thank you so much.
The next question will have a 1-minute time limit. Also referring back to our previously stated audience rules, if we can refrain from applause, that would be read. Water availability. With reduced snowpack and increased development, water availability is an ongoing concern. What efforts would you take to ensure water availability for future generations? This question to candidate Vela. Yes.
Just making sure.
Thank you.
All right, maybe I can speak to this a little bit. So I mentioned earlier I'm on the Water Conservation Committee, and I'm serious about conservation, and so is the city. Conservation isn't about not using water, it's about using it intentionally. And I think if we accept or decide that we don't have enough water to build or innovate, we've decided that the city is doomed to fail. A lot of these problems that we've talked about, the other candidates have talked about, require water, but there are innovative ways to approach them. Building with more density is more water efficient. Density can be a scary word, but it has a lot of benefits. It improves walkability, it improves the community experience, and we've got some of the best minds in the water utility planning decades ahead, using climatological, hydrological, political inputs to make those models so we can set those clear goals and develop against them. Thank you.
Candidate Beninato. With reduced snowpack and increased development, water availability is an ongoing concern. What efforts would you take to ensure water availability for future generations?
what you want to do. Hi, I'm seeing you. Can you hear me? You can hear me now? Oh, great. All right. So the question was about water and what I would do to help future generations. I think it's an important question. I myself have conserved all kinds of utilities my whole life, and I am a very low water user. And I think that we could do a lot more with gray water and recycling water, even perhaps black water. And I know that there are many studies out there. We have definitely cut consumption. We are one of the cities that has one of the lowest per capita consumption ever. I think the city itself could do more with conserving water by not watering at 10 o'clock in the morning, their lawns, things like that. And I do have to say that I have to believe the studies that the city has put out about how we have this, supply of water into the future, although sometimes being a skeptic, I find that hard to believe. Thank you.
This is the most intense game of Tetris I've ever played. Candidate Breshner. With reduced snowpack and increased development, water availability is an ongoing concern. What efforts would you take to ensure water availability for future generations? 1 minute.
Thank you. Burl Breckner, and if I see the answer to water shortages for development is that they have water rights, one more time, I just can't believe we keep on talking about water rights, which is the first step. But if there's no water, you got rights to nothing. So we really need to understand the language of water, I think. Behavior of people, and that's going to start with the schools and the families. I don't know what the schools are doing, but we need to be talking to the schools about water programs, water conservation, water usage. It's a science as well, and there's a lot of water compacts. This is not a city problem or a district problem. This is a regional problem, and I hope we're working with others. I haven't studied the subject, but we do need to be talking more broadly. Thank you very much.
Candidate Radak. With reduced snowpack and increased development, water availability is an ongoing concern. What efforts would you take to ensure water availability for future generations?
Thank you. Conservation, conservation, conservation. We have to do what other desert communities have done, like Phoenix. We have to incentivize people moving to xeriscaping, moving away from lawns, permaculture, planting. As a former consulting arborist to the city and a certified arborist in the state of New Mexico, This was something I emphasized with Parks and Rec. So we have to incentivize that as well as gray water recycling. And consider this, that if we do not mitigate fire risk in our watershed, one significant fire could devastate that source of water for the city. And that is just phenomenal. I cannot underscore that enough. We have one fire behind us, and our water would be contaminated, and it would endanger development and the life of the city. Thank you.
Candidate Bustamante, with reduced snowpack and increased development, water availability is an ongoing concern. What efforts would you take to ensure water availability for future generations?
Thank you. Some of this is going to sound similar to Mr. Radek's answer, but we could take a good example. Take a look at Nevada as a good example. One of the things they did, and people get scared about this because they think, well, wait, if we reduce water usage, with lawns and other things, we can't water our lawns. We can't use our swamp cleaners. They didn't affect the household consumer. What they did is they banned grass in public areas. We don't need a big grassy area in front of the apartment building, in front of Big Lots isn't there anymore, but you know what I mean, along those public and business areas. They banned us. They went an increased use of xeriscaping, as was brought out last night at the town hall. City of Santa Fe has over 80 parks. That's a lot of water usage. So we need to look at our parks and look at our usage there. So thank you very much.
Candidate Metzger, with reduced snowpack and increased development, water availability is an ongoing concern. What efforts would you take to ensure water availability for future generations?
Thank you. So I think one of the biggest things we need to look at and the city needs to tackle is our waste treatment plant. We have an opportunity to use gray water and recycle. That plant is over 50 years old. The infrastructure hasn't been fixed. The pumps keep going down. We could use this to almost water every park we have, every recreational area, and use potable water, for that realm. But until we fix that infrastructure, and we're back to infrastructure, it is not going to happen. What I am to, we reuse water in our house. We have drip systems, but I will caution everybody, you cannot zero out everything. Everything green, trees, anything. It removes the CO2 from the air and puts oxygen back into it. You can't live without that growth. You can't. You've got to be able to have clean air. But again, recycle and reuse our sewage water. It can be done. There's technology out there, and we need to be doing that for the survivability of this, Santa Fe and actually this state. Thank you.
Candidate Trujillo, with reduced snowpack and increased development, water availability is an ongoing concern. What efforts would you take to ensure water availability for future generations?
I've been part of the Acequia Association all my life, and what we can do to help preserve our water is be interactive with the community. Walking around Santa Fe, a lot of our acequias are backed up and corroded, and we're losing a lot of water through those systems. Also, if we look at other countries and what they're doing, like the Middle East, they're using atmospheric water generators to generate water through the atmosphere. And then we could also create programs that would work with the constituents such as rain barrels, xeriscape landscaping, to preserve any water that comes in, and work with water conservation by creating maybe some artificial lakes in different parts of the city, so we could hold that water, whether it be above the ground aquifers or below aquifers, but create those systems where we could hold the water that we do have and to preserve it. Thank you.
Candidate Crawford, with reduced snowpack and increased development, water availability is an ongoing concern. What efforts would you take to ensure water availability for future generations?
So I'm a firefighter. As you can imagine, I love water. My job would be really, really hard if we didn't have access to water. So one of the things that I also want to make clear is if we don't get this right, I'll be around to face the consequences. We must secure Santa Fe's water future. And so one of the things that I want to do is listen to the recommendations of the Buckman Diversion Board and the Water Policy Advisory Commission. These are the best minds in town coming together to figure out how we can be more responsible with our water use. I also want to echo some of what I heard up here. We do need to build denser communities when possible, because the fact is that apartments use less water than single-family homes, not more. So we must build denser when possible. And then we all need to understand that water planning is a regional issue, not just a city issue. So I want to work with the county as well to convene a meeting to figure out some of the biggest challenges that we're facing, whether it's housing affordability or water policy or crime prevention. These are all things that we need to be working together on, not in silos. Thank you.
Candidate Martinez, with reduced snowpack and increased development, water availability is an ongoing concern. What efforts would you take to ensure water availability for future generations?
All right, development. Our big eyesores of development going on around Santa Fe. The big block, dense buildings. We all know they're ugly. We all know we don't like them. Yes, they use a little less water, but if we have a land use under review right now, an ordinance that's under review, what we could do is for those dense, big apartment buildings, let's use architecture. We all love our Santa Fe architecture. I don't see why we cannot have these architectures develop a beautiful apartment building that's 3 to maybe 4 stories tall. I really don't like those buildings. The other thing is enterprise funding for housing. Also, one more thing, preserving and maintaining our watersheds. It's important to maintain those. We really don't have that much water, and it is a regional issue. Thank you.
Question 4. Question 4 will have a 1-minute time limit, starting with candidate Beninato. What do you believe is the city's role regarding immigration matters?
Question. Obviously, immigration is a national issue, and but it affects our community greatly. We are a city of immigrants, and the immigrant population is incredibly important to our economy. I do believe that the city can be proactive. Can you hear me? I hope you can. Anyway, I believe that. So I'm sorry, we are a city of immigrants, and I think it's important that the city do something in terms of policies of protecting immigrants, of not allowing ICE to use city facilities, urging the state not to allow their facilities to use for ICE detention. So these are some of the things I think the city can do. They can provide information to immigrants as to how to protect themselves from illegal actions by ICE. Thank you.
Candidate Breshner, what do you believe is the city's role regarding immigration matters?
Thank you very much, Burl Brickner. We must remember the difference between legal immigration and illegal immigration. It's a tough question. It's a tough problem because some of the people who have come here without paperwork are very fine people, but there is the reality of the law and the federal law and the relationship between what the city does and the feds do. I don't, it's a city issue in that it can confront the cities if it's not handled properly, and we really must be very aware from a security standpoint and a quality of life standpoint of dealing with it in an intelligent manner. And we have to encourage people in our community to be respectful of those who have come here and be respectful in the responses as well. Thank you very much.
Candidate Radak, what do you believe is the city's role regarding immigration issues?
We're a proud nation, state, and city of diverse communities. We have to defend our residents from an encroaching authoritarian government in Washington. My orientation is bipartisan. I grew up in a place, Massachusetts, where we had really fine Republicans. This is not the Republican Party of Ronald Reagan or Abraham Lincoln. We need to anticipate what is happening in Minneapolis, in LA, in Chicago, in Washington, D.C. is coming this way. It is inevitable. And we need to be able to defend our residents, which means providing legal resources, more education. We're going to need to defend our residents against illegal seizure and demands for papers. And this is going to require the state and the city and the county to be very creative and very proactive and get their act together now. Thank you.
Candidate Bustamante, what do you believe is the city's role regarding immigration matters?
Thank you. As I've stated before, this is a country built on immigrants. This is a city built on by immigrants. Santa Fe has always been a sanctuary city, and we need to make sure that we are honoring that today, that we're protecting our families, our citizens. We don't need mass thugs going in and pulling people out of their schools, out of their places of worship, out of their private areas of business. So one of the biggest things we can do is to make sure that we are properly educating all of our citizens on what their rights are. Let them know that what a signed warrant by a judge looks like, what areas are off limits when you're on a private and public property, and who can go where and when. We need to make sure that everybody knows their Fourth Amendment rights, and yeah, okay, thank you. Running out of time.
Candidate Metzger, what do you believe is the city's role regarding immigration matters?
Hi, and boy, is this a hot topic. What is going on nationally breaks my heart. I can't even believe America has come to what has come in this immigration and what we are doing to good, law-abiding citizens who came here in goodwill and good faith to make a better life for themselves. That being said, along with Santa Fe, we need to educate, we need to work with laws, and it does go up to the federal land. Work with laws. Really true immigration reform, path to citizenship for people where they don't have to be scared to show up when they're getting sworn in as a citizen and ripped, hauled away where families aren't that. No, I do not believe in open borders. I do not believe in open, everybody pours in. But I sure believe when you get here and you have rights, we need to protect the rights. And in Santa Fe, we need to work with every law enforcement, what we can do to protect people's rights. Everybody is human. Everybody has dignity.
Candidate Trujillo, what do you believe is the city's role regarding immigration matters?
The city's role involving immigration matters is making sure that we don't have the military coming in disguised as immigration and running our streets, and soon it's going to be immigrants, then next it's going to be you with cameras posted up at every corner, controlling you guys. And when it comes to individuals coming into our country, I don't think we're doing a correct process of bringing the right individuals into our city, especially from around the world, because right now we don't have any individuals from, the bright minds of Switzerland, Africa, around the world. We're lacking teachers, doctors, dentists, nurses, and we need to fill those positions. And I think we need to do a better vetting process of allowing educated individuals to come into our city and help us with our needs. And other individuals, if they are in countries that are seeing turmoil such as warfare, maybe bringing some of those from war-stricken communities also, but not just focusing on random countries, but actually countries that could help benefit Santa Fe.
Candidate Crawford, what do you believe the city's role is regarding immigration matters?
Well, I think it's important for Santa Fe to be proud of its immigrant tradition. We are a nation of immigrants. Immigration is a good thing. We are so profoundly lucky that people who are fleeing the most harrowing, desperate situations want to come here. And we need to do everything we can to protect them. ICE is deeply un-American, and what's going on is absolutely immoral. So it would break my heart if I went into class and found out that one of my students had been deported. So we need to make sure that ICE is not present at our schools, that we keep them out where we can. We can't be complicit in terrorizing our neighbors, and so one of the things that I would want to do is work with our district attorney to prosecute ICE if they do come here and break the law. I know that there might be a mask ordinance soon. If people don't want to follow that, they should be prosecuted. So we need to hold ICE accountable, stand up for our immigrant tradition, and